Hi everyone, here is our topic, square of a number. So the question is, what is the square of 3? Now, let's go on the concept. So when you hear the word square of 3, you'll have to translate it in writing it as 3 squared. Now, when you're starting learning, we have this an operation, we call this as the base, and we call this as the exponent. Now, if that is now the exponent and base, it means that you need to work on with what we call expansion. So we have what we call the expanded form of 3 squared. You can only expand, and the operation involved is multiplication. So what we write there is 3 times 3. Now, therefore, when we talk about that, three squared is equal to 3 times 3. Now, the value of 3 times 3 is 9. And that is now the square of 3. We have now a question. The question now there is, why square? Now, let's go back now in the concept of multiplication table. Now, let's have here 1, 2, 3. And then going down your horizontal, you have now your 1, 2, and 3. Now, having now the dimension, let's have now the dimension. The dimension is there's one dimension, second dimension, and then third dimension. So we have now put now some dots so that you would see the dimension. So this is now the beginning. And then going down the dimension, another dimension, another set going down, and another. So this is now the two dimension, assuming that they are all equal, and then we are now connecting. So in multiplication table, it is the intersections. That's why it's dimensional. So as you can see, it builds now a perfect square number. 3 times 3, that is 9. As you can see, when we count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. That's why 9 is a perfect square number. So we can look at that, another perfect square number. What is 2 times 2? 2 times 2 is 4. As you can see, 4 is a perfect square number. 1, 2, 3, 4. And then the first perfect square number is 1. Now, we can now check what we call the diagonal. So check the diagonal of multiplication table. For what we call the perfect square number. So you can continue, you can check a multiplication table, and all in the diagonal will give you a perfect square number. Now, looking on that, you have now here, look at this one, this is a square, right? Now, on this dimension, this is also a square. So that's why it is called what is a square of a number. And this is now 3 times 3. Now, let's go now with another example. Other example. So, let's have now simplify negative 2 squared. Now, read as negative 2 squared. So, in translation, when we have our solution, let's have this one, negative 2 squared, and expanding that, there would be a negative, and then multiply by the 2, and then another 2, and then the answer would be negative 4. Now, another example, let's have now another example. Simplify square of negative 5. Now, the difference here is that the whole 5 is now being squared. So when you write that, square of negative 5. So you multiply that by negative 5 times negative 5. So the answer is positive 25 or 25. So those are the answer.